If you were to write a story, a short story, about a couple whose lives have revolved around books, how would you have that couple meet?
We met at university in the library, University of Western Ontario.
Was it love at first sight?
Pretty much, yeah. In my case, anyway.
Jim and Alice Munro married in 1951 and stayed together for 20 years. During that time, they raised their children, moved to Victoria from Ontario in 1963, and opened a bookstore on Yates Street. Years later, Munro's books relocated to Fort Street and moved again in 1984 to the current location on Government.
We were sort of the new age hippie bookstore when we started. We were the first place in Canada to have Ferlinghetti's books, or all the Ginsberg, all the beat poets and so on. Only in Canada. And we had psychedelic posters that we sold, and we gradually grew and grew, and here we are.
In her spare time, Alice wrote.
She was always writing stories and sending them off. And really from the first, well, almost from the first, I really realized that she was really exceptionally good. I read one of her stories. I remember it was called Thanks for the Ride. I read that story and I thought, that's as good as any story that Updike or anybody could write.
Jim was right about Alice's writing. After publishing 14 books of short stories, Alice Munro became the first Canadian to ever win the Nobel Prize in Literature. She is one of only 13 women to have ever received this prestigious honor.
What she put on the page was really what I was experiencing. I recognized myself on the page.
This past summer, at the age of 82, Alice Munro announced her retirement. But her stories continue to inspire writers like Julie Paul. It's
so well deserved. I don't think it was a surprise to anyone that she's just such an amazing writer, as a Canadian, as a woman, but especially because she is just a champion of the short story form. And as a writer of short stories, I have just been inspired by her my whole life.
Julie is also the director of the Victoria Writers Festival, which takes place this weekend at Camosun College's Lansdowne campus.
We have an amazing lineup of panel discussions, readings, and workshops for all levels of writers, but also for readers. It's really a festival to celebrate the written word. I think we'll be talking a lot about Alice.
For all authors, I think it's a real step up that Canada has been recognized on the world stage. Yeah. Good for them. Yeah. Good for her. Good for us. Yeah. Good for business.
On the counter at Munro's is a book for anyone to sign who would like to congratulate Alice on her historic accomplishment. Seems appropriate that the first entry is from Jim. You must be really proud of her.
I am very proud of her. Very pleased that she's come as far as she has.
In Victoria, I'm Dan Kahan.